Hi everyone, my name is Hannah. I go by Microbiologist Makes here on YouTube as well as over on Instagram. This is a channel all about my hobbies, primarily cross stitch, but also knitting, sewing, crochet, thrifting are things you can expect to see as well. Thank you for joining me today for episode number 23. So I'm very much overdue for an update. I last filmed at the beginning of this year, January, a holiday vlog. Otherwise, I haven't posted a regular update in quite some time. I've been watching Flosstube here and there. I've been posting on Instagram this year, but hobbies sort of went to the wayside. If you're interested in a little bit of a life update, you can listen for a couple of minutes. Otherwise, by all means, skip ahead. But essentially, end of January, I was really buckled into finishing my PhD program. I was also looking for a job. I did accept a position later that spring, research microbiology industry position, and ended up starting that job before I finished my PhD. So started that job in June, moved to eastern Wisconsin from Iowa, and came back to defend my PhD, which I did successfully, and yeah, now working regular, not crazy hours, which is a switch. It's also like, it's wild to me that I can leave my work at home and come home and do fun things, and one of those things is struggling to get away from me right now. I have a new co-star. This is Floyd. He is a miniature dachshund, and he is 5 months old. So you can expect to see a lot of him, probably hear a lot of him. I left all his toys out, so there are lots of squeaky toys that will probably make an appearance, but yeah, just have time for things now, and have sort of a real life. So that's always good. And I've been cross-stitching a little bit here and there. Actually, when I pulled all my projects to talk about today, a lot more has happened than I really gave myself credit for, although I will say the bulk of that was in the last 2 months. So I do have quite a bit to show today, so we're gonna set him down and see how that goes. There's lots of cords and project piles around, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to resist. Alrighty. I thought we'd start with a wrap-up review of everything I've worked on so far this year. I did start quilting. I think that can be its own video, so we'll save that for later. But everything I've cross-stitched and knit is what the goal is for today's agenda. Beginning with cross-stitch finishes. So I do have notes ended here, but I finished Chili Animal Cracker by Stacey Nash in March. He is stitched on Weeks Dye Works 36 count gray, and I used color and cotton threads from Stash. You just need a white, black, red, and a light pink, or if you change the hat. I've seen some really cute conversions, particularly a purple one, and I don't know who did that, but I saw that on Instagram, and I wish I had changed the hat color, but I was in too deep. So this is Chili, stitched with one thread over 2 linen threads. And I also did his little friend, the snowman, who in himself was, I think, like 900 stitches. So they are a pair, and I need to finish them. I have another animal cracker that I will share coming up as a whip. I want just a big bowl of animal crackers. So I plan to follow Tiger Lily Carey's tutorial of how to finish animal crackers as little stand-ups and our little soft finishes, and I need to get cracking on that. And up next we have Crafty Goose by Frizzy Lizzy Stitches. I finished this in less than a day, and it was a really fun little project. I picked colors based on some fat quarters that I had in mind. I wanted like So first off, I want to finish this as a tote bag, like as the center panel of a patchwork tote bag, and make it into like a little retreat bag, essentially. Have I ever been on a retreat? No. I believe in being prepared. So I have these sort of like 30s floral, really cute patterns. And I picked a teal, light green, oops. A teal, a light green, a dark green, pink, you know, to match. And this is linen that I dyed myself. Actually, I think it's 40 count even weave. So I had a little scrap left, and I want to, as I said, make this into a little or large tote bag that I can tote my projects around in. So that's the plan. And I honestly don't know why I don't get started on this now. I'm afraid of messing up the stitching, actually. That's why I haven't done that. And then we get into Market time frame. So I did purchase quite a few things from Market. I won't be giving a haul section today. That would be too hard. I've put everything away, but this was a piece I knew I had to get, and I started it as soon as it came in the mail. Finished it fairly quickly for what was going on too. And that is Pigeon and Puddle by the Blue Flower. I stitched this on a Lap and Loops 40 count fabric that I'll have to put in the description box because I don't remember the name of it. But I will have those details below. I used 2 of the called for silks, so they're really variegated. I used the watercolor, which is like Murray Pine, and then I used the called for purple. But I didn't use, the others were color and cottons, and I think I got like a pretty good pigeon color. It goes from like gray to like a pink, sort of even. Yeah, I would say that's accurate, or maybe more purple. And then the neck color is also color and cotton. I use like the head of the pigeon is the called for DMC. So I made a few substitutions, but I really think this chart lends well to that, just picking your own colors too. I ended up going for the silk for the water just because I didn't have that bright of a blue in my color and cotton stash. So that's, and this is like a super cheap, honestly, frame. It's very old, but it is plastic. It is not wood. But I didn't have very many oval frames, and I like the gold inlet or inlay. And I thought it looked great. So, and I have so many frames. I need to actually use them instead of waiting for something better. Like, they're all cute. I should just use them. So that's what I did. And that is Pigeon and Puddle by the Blue Flower. Up next, I finished, so this is a long-standing whip. I think I started it in 2022, and it is Night Signs by Tiny Modernist, and they're a set of 4 little square designs that you can stitch all together, which I think is how it was in the model. I decided to stitch them separately, and I'm going to finish them as pillows someday. I've been to a few quilt stores lately, and I just want fat quarters that will match, and I can't find the exact shade of like purple or whatever that I'm looking for, so they are not finished yet. But I had, going into this year, finished 1 of the 4. So I think that's pretty good. I had finished this one. And I picked this up probably, I was graduated, so end of July, and I finished 3. I mean, they're only like 2,000 stitches for each little square. So I was cruising on the rest of them. So that's the second one. Then I think I stitched the moth next. And lastly, this little cloche with the mush. I saved my favorite for the last one. So yeah, these were a lot of fun. The borders are, there's 2 different borders, so you have to stitch them twice, but by the time you get to the one you've already stitched, it's like you forgot. So I didn't have to force myself to work on this. It was a lot of fun. I stitched it on, this is 32 count. It's by Slate by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I used Color and Cottons, again from Stash, that I stayed true to the color palette. I didn't swap for any or add in any other colors. I used a couple of the DMCs, and then yeah, Color and Cottons. So that's what I like to do. That was another finish. And I still have a decent amount of this fabric left, so that's exciting. I use this fabric for like everything, as you'll see coming up. now we're getting into things I have framed. I actually framed these yesterday. I started a butterfly wall in my bedroom. So above my desk area, I have 2 butterfly pieces. I have more stitched and more I want to stitch, but I need to get that wall going. So I finished, I had started this right after the book came out. So Max Pigeon's A Pigeon Coop Design, Cross Stitch in the Forest book. I don't know when that came out, a year ago or more. I immediately started Mothly Crew, and it had been, I didn't immediately start that. That's a lie. I think I started that this year, and I used all the call for DMCs, again 32 count slate by Fabrics by Stephanie, and I finished this last month. Time has no meaning. And I had this circle frame, and it was like wood, but they had painted it and then chipped a bunch of the paint off, so it was strange. So I decided to just go over it with a peachy color pink that I sort of diluted down with white, and then used a wax, min wax, and grunge it up. So this is ready to go on my butterfly wall, or butterfly moth wall, because who knows. And it's so exciting. I need to take pictures of these after this for Instagram. And by these, I have one more framed finish, and that is Strawberry Bird by Diana Bloom. I joined her Patreon. I think I missed the first month, and now you can go back and buy previous month's patterns, so I need to do that. But otherwise, I've been in it for the long haul. And this is Strawberry Bird. I believe it came out in June. So this was every month in the top tier, you get a bird of the month chart. And you can also vote on what bird you want for the next month. And she draws those at random. So I've been putting in suggestions here and there. I think last time I voted for Junko. I love them. They're so cute. But now I'm going to be going hard for the barn owl. I know there's a new market pattern of a barn owl from Teresa Kogut, but I don't think there can be too many cross-stitched barn owls. So that is going to be my suggestion until it is randomly drawn. This is Strawberry Bird. I stitched her on, or him, I'm assuming since the bright colors, on 40 count Luna Moth by Be Stitch Me with this is all DMC. The shading is unreal, and these charts go into Pattern Keeper really well. I haven't stitched any more of them, but she also has a free pattern of a moth, which needs to go on the moth butterfly wall for sure. So that's gonna be my next start from this designer, I believe. But I started this in June as part of the Stitch Along Strawberry Moon that Marjorie Maid hosts, and I didn't finish it in June, but I finished it soon after and just got it framed, so that's exciting. I don't have too many unfinished cross-stitch projects left, so like not fully finished left to tackle, so that's exciting. And now we can talk about everything I've started that is now a whip, or was previously a whip that I worked on. And I have to find those from the pile. Okay. You might hear some clanking around too, because I have some of these still in my project bags. I worked on, and these will not be in a particular order, most likely. I worked on Summer Plums by Artsy Housewife. I started this with Cross Stitch Kate couple years ago, probably. It was a Patreon pattern. I don't believe it's been released yet, but I'm sure it will be eventually. And I'm stitching this on 28 count even weave that I dyed myself. I'm doing it over 1, and it's kind of slow going. I'll zoom in a little bit. So those moons have quite a bit of stitching in them, and I was gonna tackle all of them before I got to like the house and everything, all the good bits. That hasn't happened yet, and I don't know if I'll work on this more. I'm feeling all the autumn, fall stitching right now, so that's where it's sitting at the moment. And that is actually, I think, as far across as it goes. I don't know like what it will be height-wise, but that is one end of the top border to the other. And I'm stitching this with, again, colored cottons that I picked that looked like the called for colors. I also worked on another old WIP. This would have been in like the March, April time frame when I pulled this out. And that is Plum Street Samplers. I think I have pattern Shepherd's Song. I'm stitching this on 36 count by Tropical Stitches. And I'm using all the called for colors, except I had to sub in a couple, now that I'm getting back into it, I was reminded that I had to add in a couple different shades of Classic Colorworks for the sheep, because either the dye lots are different from theirs, or I don't know what was going on. They were just like blending into the grass, or like the color in the sheep was blending in with like the pattern within the sheep. So that's where she is. I worked on the house primarily. I think I said this is Tropical Stitches fabric, but the color is Gabrielle or Gabriella. That house was no joke. And I did change the door color. The door color is like almost, or at least for the dye lots that I had of Classic Colorworks, were like dead on to, it just blended in the house. So I chose a lighter gray. There's a really bad crease too, sorry, right here. I did change the wording as I've talked about before in previous videos. I just continued like that paraphrased Bible verse instead of having like on the side of the house it was supposed to say wrought by and then your name. So I cut that out. I also think there's a dog there. I cut that out too. But I hope I'm a little over halfway with that house, but that grass is also very dense, so I have a ways to go. But I would like to have this done. I'm not like upset that I have 30, I think I have 36 whips, 35 whips. I'm just upset that I have so many old ones. Like I want there to be turnover. So I was focusing on that and hoping I could finish it this year. Then I kind of stalled out, so. And then again, towards those efforts, I also pulled out for July, Christmas and July stitching, I pulled out Noel Sampler by Brenda Gervais. I have this one out of the plastic, so it shouldn't be that bad of a glare. I started this in 2021 and I'm a decent way done. I thought I could maybe get this done before Christmas so I can focus on some other Christmas whips, because by the time I feel like stitching Christmas, I only have like a few weeks to do that before, you know, it's January and I don't want to think about Christmas anymore. So I wanted to get this one done beforehand. Let's see. I'm stitching this also on Tropical Stitches, 36 count. And I could not tell you the color, so details below. All DMC, that's called for. I think I had to change the white of the snow to light gray because I couldn't get white to show up on this fabric. But I love this fabric, so I didn't want to, and even B52 blended in, so. I used a light gray and then I swapped some of the snowflakes out for like a light pink color. So those are my only changes. And I don't have that much left to go, except for that border on that left side, or right side. I have that whole border left to do, and the alphabet went really quickly, so I don't feel bad about that. I mean, well, that's done, so I don't have to worry about that. I think there's some more trees, unfortunately, in a big box that I have to put my initials in, and yeah, then the border. But it's close, it's in sight. I think I could wrap that up fairly soon, so we'll see. For sure this year. It's not going into 2026. I think I have 2024 on here because I was optimistic last year. So. And then I guess these would fall under the category of new starts, but now they're whips, so whatever. I started with so many other people, Nature's Journey, which is a stitch along in just Cross Stitch magazine. I get it through the Libby app, free every month or every quarter, so that's been great. I'm stitching this on a 46 count, I believe it's pewter by Color and Cotton. And I'm using all the called for DMCs. I still have a needle minder on here, but it coordinates, so. And I'm still in spring. I started this with intentions to keep up, but it is, I think it's mostly just because I decided to do it on 46 count, but it is kind of slow stitching. Lots of color changes, but then the 46 is really hitting me hard, so I'm not super fast on this one. And I didn't get to summer within summer. And I probably still won't before the autumn equinox, so we'll see. I would like to keep going on this and not get too far behind. At least more behind than I already am, so maybe I'll just jump over to fall and go diagonal. That is a gorgeous one. And I also started, after I finished Chili, I started a new animal cracker. I started Maggie May. I'm using all the called for threads. Well, no, that is not true. I'm using one of the weeks and then I'm using the rest Color and Cotton. And this is on Tropical Stitches as well. And I don't think it had a name, so I don't even have to try to remember that one. So I have her started. I love all the different, again, I don't know why it didn't occur to me to change their outfit colors, but I do like the yellow dress and blue, or yellow cardigan blue dress that she has, so we'll keep going. This is on, again, 36 count. And I need to finish her so I can start, I have Henny Penny, the chicken with the apron. It's fabulous, so I need to finish her before I start that. I would only like one animal cracker going at a time. And then I posted about this one on Instagram. We went up, my parents and I went to Duluth over Memorial Day for a little weekend getaway. So I brought very appropriately a loon pattern to stitch by Lake Superior. So this is Toonies by These 20 Stitches in Uncanny Kari. And I am using, I think it's called for with Brin and Needle floss, but I'm using Color and Cottons. It's really easy to convert. I'm using lamb's wool, which is the white, Joshua Tree for the green, and the black that I don't, oh, that must have been, Floyd came prancing around with a little floss tag. So that was Black Licorice by Gentle Arts. That makes sense now. And I'm stitching this on 40 count Red Cedar by Cedar River Linens. And I love this linen color. I thought it looked really good. It just pops. So not too much to go. I should probably just finish this. Need to work on that. And I could have another finish. There we go. So that's Toonies. Then I tried to start a little stitch along, although there's another moth stitch along going on, which has a better hashtag and has more organization. Actually has hosts that post about it. So, and that is the moth along that's hosted by Bright and Dusty and Jacintha from Stitching on the Plains, or Crafting on the Plains. My hashtag was Midsummer Moth, Sal, because I started this the weekend of the Midsummer Stitch. That was hosted by Lindy Stitches, of which that was the first full weekend I had Floyd, and he was wearing me wearing me thin. So I didn't get to attend any of the stitching rooms or really even watch any of the videos. I was just overwhelmed. So I got I got to the shopping hall, bought some patterns, and dipped out. So but then I started this pattern that weekend, or I think it was actually the following Monday, because I ordered fabric, and that is Shannon Christine's Luna Moth pattern. So I know Rocio of Kokohama Stitchery was posting this on her progress on Instagram. I don't know if anyone else joined in my little Sal, but it was fun and I'm still going. I love this. It's very addicting. The shading that Shannon Christine does is really cool. So I'm stitching this on 32 count Timberwolf by Seraphim, and I had every intention to use the Krynic threads or the gold Krynic for the moon. It was like over 3,500 stitches. I think it was like 3,600 actually of gold, and I could not do it. It was too much. So I used gold by Weeks Dye Works. So that is all the yellow in there. It's close enough. I'm sure it would be really cool with the metallics, but it was not a pleasant experience. So that is what I have. Otherwise, the rest is the called for DMC, and I do have the beads. I have every intention of doing adding the beads as well. My last cross stitch project that I have to share is a recent purchase from the Needlework Marketplace that took place in August. That is Carriage House Handlooms Knit Creatures. It's my only purchase so far. I'm sure later on, maybe next year, I'll stitch something else that came out at Marketplace, but this was the one thing I knew I needed right away. Actually, I know. I want to stitch Blueberry J by JetX Stitch, but I'm waiting for the PDF. So for now, this is everything I got from Marketplace, and I think it's called We Stitch For It MPIs, but there's a DMC conversion. I use a DMC conversion to pick color and cotton threads, and I do have those here, so I can run through them. I kept three of the DMCs. I did 310. I kept 310 the same. 317 is like the inside of the crow's wings, and then the gold of the moon, the lighter color gold, is 3852, and I kept those the same. Otherwise, you just need a dark green for the border, and I used color and cotton seaweed, a light green for one of the pumpkins, funnel cake, the darker green for the pumpkins, mustard seed by color and cotton. Then I used a darker orange, open fire, lighter orange for Tissimo, almond latte for the owl, and hickory stick for the tree in the darker shading in the owl. However, at least in the light that I was trying to add this color the other night, it looked very much like the black, so I might have to pick that one out. But yeah, that's my little run through my color conversion. I'm stitching this on, oh good, I kept the tag, Be Stitch Me Morning Fog, 32 count. And that's the start of the crow. This goes pretty fast. This was just like a night and 20 minutes the other night when I tried to stitch and wasn't successful. So it's working up pretty fast. I'd like to have this one done this season. My problem with seasonal whips is they just hang around forever because I don't want to work on them year round. So hopefully I can finish it in the next couple months. Next, I thought we'd talk about a few projects that I have that are autumn themed that I'd like to work on. At least make some form of progress. So first up is Dark Golden Delicious by the Artsy Housewife. I'm stitching this on a 40 count linen that I dyed myself. I think this is the right way. I'm almost done with those star borders. They remind me of granny squares or like a Dresden quilt motif. This is beautiful and I need to work on it. So I'd like to work on this season, this fall season. I don't know if it's really a fall whip, but it reminds me of fall, so that's gonna happen, hopefully. And I'm using all the called for threads for that one actually, so that's cool. Then we have, this is Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Matthews. I had every intention of pulling this out earlier in the year and getting more progress and finishing it this year because it's just been lingering. But I haven't done that, so it probably won't be finished this year because I think it's like 20,000 stitches. But I'm stitching this on 40 count Grandpa's Sleeve by XG Designs, and I'm pulling color and cottons, and I'm a little all over the place, so I don't have those to share because I'm sure I won't change my mind. But here's what I have so far. And my cut of Grandpa's Sleeve doesn't really have those huge dark yellow splotches like I've seen some people have. I mean, I like that, but this piece doesn't really have it. They're more faint, so that's what I have so far. I need to work on that too. I think if I had a PDF copy, it would go faster. I don't know why. For this one, I just feel like it'd be more pleasant to stitch on in Pattern Keeper for me personally. But that one needs to get brought out for sure. And this last one, I think I could finish potentially this year, although I've been saying that for a couple years now. That is Autumn Town by, oh, I can't think of it. Something Stitchery. I'm sure you all know, but I'll have it across. Oh man. I just have sky and some trees, but the sky is like 6,000 stitches of blue and big white clouds. This is on a 28 count even weave that I dyed myself with Green Apple Rit back in 2020. It's really cool. I just need to finish it. That sky has been intimidating me for years, so I don't know why. I've probably stitched bigger chunks of just one color, but for some reason I don't like stitching sky. So, and that is all of the called for DMCs, but I did for some of the trees pick color and cottons that were close to the called for color. And I also think that silk, there's a really variegated silk that I can't remember the name of. Wait, I have it. There's a Gloriana silk in Apricot Grove is the colorway. I did use that. Let's just unfold it. I did use that for like the really variegated trees because I couldn't find something similar and I really liked that crazy variegation. So yeah, those are sort of some fall plans for cross stitch that I have. I have a couple other fall whips, but these are the ones that I think are like most pressing that I really need to put some work in on. So hopefully in future videos, if I can get my act together, you will see those more often. Then I have a designer shout out. So Mama Piggy X Stitch on Etsy, Maria is her name, reached out to me back in February, and I feel really bad. She offered to send me a pattern of my choosing for free that I could then show on my channel and talk about. And I have every intention of doing that. But for now, I thought we'd just take a browse through her store. She has really cool, beautiful stained glass patterns, lots of folksy sort of inspired patterns, lots of flowers, houses, holiday, really something for everyone, even Disney patterns, which is really cool. So if you're into that sort of thing, go check out her store. The charts are very, very reasonably priced. Should probably be charging quite a bit more. They upload into Pattern Keeper, I can confirm. The mushroom pattern did anyway, so I would imagine all of those charts would as well. So I would recommend you go check out her store on Etsy, and I will have it linked below. And that is all of the cross stitch content I have for today. Although if you're interested in knitting, please stick around. I've worked on quite a few different things. I finished, I think it was winter still. I had a hyperfixation on the Sophie scarf by Petite Knit, and I made two versions or two sizes. I made the smallest size, a white version, and it wasn't quite the largest size. I ran out of yarn, or maybe it was the full size, and I was worried I would run out of yarn, and I didn't. In a brown. And I used Cardiff cashmere, which is my first time using cashmere yarn, and now I am ruined. Well, not really, because I can't afford it, but for everything. But it's a really nice yarn, and it's really comfortable to have around your neck. So, yep, this ties something like this. And they're so cute. So many neck scarf patterns that I'd love to do, but I started with a Sophie scarf. And then I think I was working on this pattern actually in my holiday vlog. The ends are still not, I just poked myself in the eye. The ends are still not woven in, and it's still not blocked. But that is the Lodge sweater by Ozetta. So yeah, this is, isn't it beautiful? It does have a split hem. And the ribbon goes up pretty high. I think it's like 4 inches on the hem, and it has quite a long ribbing section on the cuff. The neckline sits really nice, and it's really cozy. This is an acrylic yarn that I got from the dear departed Joanne. This was Big Twist Carousel. And fun fact, I actually ran out like on a sleeve. And being that this is very variegated, I was like, what do I do? Can't find anything to match. Then it was, I think, out of Denmark, there was like an identical, at least it looked identical on the screen. I don't even remember what the name was because I have since destashed my acrylic yarn through Facebook Marketplace. So I didn't keep it. But it was like an identical gradient yarn, and I took a chance and got it very cheaply from Denmark, as I said, and it was like an exact match. So I was able to finish the sweater, and I can't even remember what sleeve it was that was different from the called for, or what the big twist. So the striping pattern is a little funky, but I think it's kind of cool. It started out, I mean, as you can see, like the body circumference got smaller versus like this whole yoke and the drop shoulder. Yeah, it was drop shoulder. So the stripes got smaller, but I think it's cool. It's really comfy, and this acrylic yarn is really nice against your skin, so I don't think I'd have to wear like a long sleeve shirt underneath it, which is nice. I did an I-cord edging for the color as well, which is a really nice finishing touch, I thought. So I believe those are my only 2 knitting finishes. I have, since I've seen you, although I haven't worked on this in quite a long time, I was just thinking about it the other day, and like I'm gonna have to interpret where I left off in the pattern because I'm not good about taking notes for those sort of things. This is the Yelena vest by Alexandra something I can't pronounce. And it is a really cool like side tie vest pattern that I'm doing in Drops Air in the color, does it have a color? Unit color number 45. It's like a sea green blue sort of situation. And I got past the bottom up, and then you join at the top on the shoulder and do the same thing on the back. It's not honestly the most fun thing to work on. At least it wasn't. I don't remember it being that way last time I touched it, but I love the side ties, so I'll keep going. This is where I am. It has a really cool stitch pattern too. Sort of like a broken rib. I don't even know what you call that. It's really cool. And that's where we are. This yarn is really interesting too. I think it's that blown yarn where it's like a hollow tube and then it sort of has like a halo around it. I don't know if you'll even be able to tell, but it's really nice. So, and cost effective. So we love that. For some reason, I mean, I much prefer knitting in the round, so I don't know why I like making vests so much, but I really do. That was like the first garment I made, was a vest, a cabled vest, because I'm crazy, so. And then I worked on, earlier this spring, and kind of got stalled out on, the Blooming Lavender socks by Stone Knit. And I have one sock almost done. You can see how big my size 11 feet are. I'm almost at the toe, so I actually have to try this on to see. I have to measure like 2 inches from the tip of your toe. Before you start, there's like another repeating vine before you get to the actual toe. And you need to start that 2 inches before the tip of your toe. So I have to measure this on my foot and have to get this onto a larger needle. I like knitting these on 9-inch circulars. That's my preferred style. And I actually got the called for yarn. I had been eyeing this for a while. It is by Yarn Love in Cinderella sock, and it's like a sock kit. So she gives you minis of the purple, the green, and then hanks of the light, the lavender purple, in the exact amount that you need for 2 socks. So I actually picked that up off of Facebook Marketplace and met a nice lady in a Target parking lot to get that one day. Randomly, I had been thinking about it, and then it came up as a listing, and I was like, guess it was meant to be. So I almost have half of a pair of socks. We'll see when I ever get back to that. I sort of do that with socks. I love the idea of knitting socks, and I usually get pretty far in one sock and then it just sits for a very long time. But I need to get back to that because I need a new pair of Christmas socks, I think. And my recent hyperfixation, which has been overtaking my desire to cross stitch lately, and did I drop a stitch? Yes, I did. Okay, I fixed it. Has been the Arrow Sweater by Petite Knit. I am knitting this with, let's see, I thought I took the yarn band, but it's an alpaca by Knit Picks. That was actually discontinued. I think it's called Upcycle Alpaca something, long name. And it's discontinued, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But it is a light DK, more like a sport, I would say, a sport weight yarn, and I am knitting in just a bunch of colors that I thought it reminded me of like a desert sunset, and that was the vibe I was going for. And it is all bunched up because I just finished, wow, that's bad. I just finished like getting to the part where I need to split for sleeves. So it's a yoke, and you do raglan, circular yoke, and then you do raglan increases. And so I have like 340 some stitches on my needles right now on like 32-inch needles. So I need to split for sleeves, and then I can just cruise on the body. Actually, probably will do the sleeves first because I do a little bit at the body and then go to the sleeves because I want to make sure that I have enough of all these colors because you can't get more. So that would be a problem if I ran out. But yeah, goes from, so I started with like this, let's go from the back. Peachy color, wine color, lavender, darker purplish brown, orange, true purple. I think that color's lilac, and then it repeats. It's one perfect for autumn, and we're getting a cold front right now. It's our first false fall of the year, so yeah. I have been really enjoying this, and something about stripes, like you just want to get to the next color. So it's been going really fast, and I will probably work on this more tonight. So that is everything officially. I know it's been really chaotic. Floyd is napping behind the curtain. That's why I've been looking off to the side. But thanks for putting up with me. Thanks to everyone who's stuck around. And yeah, I hope to be back. I don't know at what sort of schedule this will be in, but I need to get this filmed and get over that. I've been thinking about filming for so long, sort of taking notes in my head, but procrastinating as well because I want it to be, you know, a certain way, but it's never going to be perfect. So we're just filming and having fun. And let me know what you were working on while watching this, what you're looking forward to about the next season we're going into. I know there's so many great fall patterns that I want to start in general, or just fall sweaters that I'd like to add to my wardrobe and knit. And I'm trying to slow my roll a little bit, and finish what I've already have started, but it is hard with all these Knitstagram and cross stitch accounts. It's like I see so many cool things every day that I just want to cast on or start. But in the meantime, I have plenty of things to work on, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.